hands and to bring back the confidence of the Turkish people, which since AKP came to power in 2002, the Turkish people, we had lost it in a way. You know, the economy was doing better every day. Things for the people, whether it's the streets, whether it's the metro, everything was doing better. So we were silent. And now from the silence those voices are rising.
Now you've been covering those local elections. Are the top issues local, or has it become a referendum on Erdogan?
Well, I was in Istanbul about until last week. I'm doing a piece for The New Yorker on Sırrı Süreyya Önder, who actually was at the forefront of the Gezi Park protests. He was one of the first people during the Gezi Park who actually, I'm sure you'll remember this iconic image of him in front of the bulldozer stopping the destruction of the park. I followed him on the campaign trail. What's going on is that this is no longer a municipal election. The rhetoric, the speeches of the candidates is no longer about policies. This feels like a general election.
But hang on, I'm going to interrupt you here.
Please.
That's cosmopolitan Istanbul on the banks of the Bosphorus. But what about in the heartland of Turkey?
Well, Turkey is a very complex place. Think of Turkey as a puzzle. It's a puzzle where there's always a piece missing. The heartland of Turkey may not have been as vocal as the Istanbul and Ankara and the big cities with the Gezi protests, but what you have today is 32 cities across Turkey who are actually rising for Berkin. So even the heartland of Turkey is getting a voice.
Now, through it all, you still get this sense, don't you, that Turkey's democracy, but a winner-takes-all democracy.
Whether Turkey is a democracy is something we can talk about for hours, and I think Turkey has done a lot. Turkey has gone a long way. Is Turkey really the diamond in the rough that the West so eagerly pointed out to? I'm not sure. I mean, look at Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He is the prime minister of a country like Turkey. To this moment, just like you showed it, he hasn't said a single word of condolences to the family of Berkin. He was on a municipal tour in the southeast of Turkey today. He spoke for over an hour, and he hasn't mentioned the death of a citizen of the country, of the country that
were you expecting him to?
Well, to expect something from Prime Minister Erdogan is a difficult task. But I think the right thing to do, what a leader ought to do is, yes, to express that. The president of Turkey yesterday made a statement. The spokesperson of the government made a statement yesterday as well, which wasn't a very satisfying statement. He said, it's a very sad day. It's a day when actually a child dies of an incident on the street, as if that child was just playing with his friends on with a soccer ball. He actually went out of his house in order to get a loaf of bread and shot with a tear gas canister into the head. Whether it wasn't a loaf of bread or whether it was in order to protest, the police, the government is supposed to look out after you, not to kill you, not to put you in a coma for 269 days.
What do you make of the fact that you've heard from the president? A lot's been made of it here. You've heard from President Gül, but not from Prime Minister Erdogan. And is there a rift growing between the two?
There are many rifts happening in Turkey. It's a constant power struggle. Whether it's between the cleric Fethullah Gülen, whom you mentioned, whether it's between Abdullah Gül and Erdogan. Power is a very sweet fruit, but it's all, like every fruit, it gets sour with time. I think what Erdogan is kind of slowly tasting is that bitterness of the fruit, because he's getting so blinded by that power. He's no longer acting as a leader. He's acting as an authoritarian person. That is very dangerous.
All right. At the outset of our conversation, you said expect a lot more protests to come. Prime Minister Erdogan, how long can he hang on for?
Oh, he's going to try to hang on as long as he can. And we're seeing that. I think here with Erdogan, here's a man who is trying to stay there despite pressures. It's someone who is trying not to give up on that power. But it's when you seek the dark, at some point you cannot surface through the light. There needs a point where he's going to be around for some time, but how long? That is the 68,000 word answer that I wish I had. But it's.
All right, and we'll have, of course, a clearer picture on the night of March the 30th after those local elections of where things are going. I want to thank you very much, Aysegul Sert, for being with us. Stayed with us. Much more to come on this story and more at the bottom of the hour, as well as all the day's business and sports.